I will mention, there are at least probably 7 states that I would put a red flag or the caution tape around, and that is Alabama, Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Maryland, Mississippi, South Carolina, and Tennessee.
Huh.
And we could provide that to our listeners just to watch out for. If you're in these states providing resale certificates, or you have customers in these states who are providing resale certificates, and you're not certain if you can accept this resale certificate or not, it's good to at least have those flashing red lights in your head. Oh,
Hello, you are listening to the Saltcast by Peisner Johnson, the sales tax people. And for the last 30 plus years, we have been providing sales tax solutions and peace of mind to everyone we talk to. Hello and welcome to the Saltcast. My name is Ryan Johnson, and for the bulk of today's episode, we'll be covering resale exemption certificates. More specifically, which states require you to have their state-specific resale certificate and what that means for you and how to get that done. Some other things we will be covering are some practical scenarios and the challenges that resale certificates present. We'll also give you some tips and advice for handling those resale certificates. Well, I'm trying to think of like the scenario, most common scenario. And
right.
Let's say, there's a major supplier of whatever product you're selling in
Right.
California.
Right.
But you're located in Texas. But you got to buy this stuff from the supplier in California.
Right.
But, you do sell some stuff in California, but not a lot. So you're not registered there because you don't meet any nexus thresholds.
Yeah.
So you buy it. And in order to not pay the sales tax, because you're going to be collecting the sales tax from your customers, you got to supply resale certificate.
Right.
And so in California,
they
want a California resale certificate.
But if you're in Texas and you purchase it from California and you sell it, what you purchased, let's say I purchased a fidget spinner in California. Whoa. Let's say
it's all jammed up.
Let's say I purchased a fidget spinner in California, and I live in Texas, and I resell these fidget spinners. If I have the California customer or vendor ship them to me in Texas, then California's going to charge me, or that vendor's going to charge me tax. If they have Nexus, of course, in Texas. So they charge me tax in Texas. But if I purchase the fidget spinner, the only reason why I'm going to issue a resale certificate is I'm going to resell them, right? So if you're going to resell the fidget spinners, they're not going to charge you California tax. The California resale certificate's not even going to be presented because you're in Texas. So the only real reason you would issue a California resale certificate is if you're drop shipping in the state of California. And in a dropship situation, that's where people get really hosed. Well, what can I provide? What can I not provide? California is indicating that you don't have to issue, or you don't have to get a permit in California if you don't make taxable sales in California. But I would argue that I don't make taxable sales in California if I haven't even established Nexus in California. So if the state of California wanted to come audit me in Texas because I'm reselling fidget spinners to customers in California, man, these fidget spinners are $3, they're $5, The economic nexus threshold in California is $500,000. I gotta sell a lot of fidget spinners to California customers before I establish Nexus. But if you did establish Nexus, then yeah, you would have to register, obtain a California resale certificate, and that's not issued by the state. It's just a blanket form, similar in Texas, where you just pull up the resale certificate.
Fill it out.
Fill it out and move on.
This is a really interesting concept because you could be a small time drop shipper. You just got started.
Yeah.
And, you've got, your supplier is in one of these states that wants its, your resale certificate, from the state. Like, what's your advice? Because how many states will want this? Like, do you have to get registered in the state in order to provide? It's not going to be huge dollars, I guess, but then you're going to have to. It's like, do you pay the sales tax to the vendor and then still collect it from the customer and then to use that to offset?
We do have
You're
clients who have passed it through, in essence. I use that term lightly just because it's not really a pass-through tax because you always are going to
right.
mark it up and you're going to charge more tax than you paid anyway, more times than not anyway. And if you don't, then and you truly do pass it through, then under audit you would owe the difference because you didn't collect enough from the customer.
Hmm.
But yeah, it goes both ways. For our I consult with clients both on both sides of it. So if they're the vendor and they're charging tax or collecting a resale certificate, I always encourage them to collect a state-specific resale certificate and to request that from their customer. Hey, I shipped these to California. I need the California resale certificate, and to request that and to get that from the customer. if I'm consulting with the customer who's purchasing product in many different states in California and Nevada, Utah, and they're in Texas, then I would just say, hey, provide the multi-state exemption certificate or the streamlined sales tax certificate. If those states would accept that certificate, they'll be listed on the certificate specifically. So the multi-jurisdictional resale certificate will have all the states that accept that certificate on there. And I tell them, hey, just provide that certificate with your account numbers on there and indicate to the vendor, hey, we're purchasing these for resale and tax is not due on these. And here's my resale certificate. And if push comes to shove, you have to get a state-specific resale certificate. It's more just a headache and a hassle. It's more just an
Right.
administrative pain. But it is important to note that in certain states like Florida, or Illinois, or I'm trying to think, Washington, there are certain states that do require a state-specific resale certificate. Florida will issue an annual resale certificate that's only good for that year. And the reason that they do that is because it helps monitor and regulate invalid resale certificates to protect the vendor, in my opinion.
Hmm.
So the certificate can expire. And certain certificates do expire. Certain resale certificates do expire after a period of time. I encourage all of our clients to make certain that they have new certificates every 3 years. That covers the statute of limitations. You could push it to 4 years, but just on a recurring basis, just be sure to collect updated resale certificates. In some states, like those that I mentioned, they require annual resale certificates, and you have to get them every year. So every January or every December for the new year, we're coming up. We need your new resale certificate, and we can get that, or we are requesting that you get that and provide that to us. But it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time. It's an administrative hassle. It's a bit of a headache understanding, can the state accept the out-of-state certificate? Do I have to have a specific in-state certificate? You have states like Illinois who have a specific reseller license. Hey, you can just register as a reseller. You don't have to file returns, but you can just be a reseller. So it gets a little bit tricky. But yeah, it is
Especially,
important.
having to know all the different definitions as well,
Yeah.
can get really tricky, especially when
Yeah.
you're registering in different states. You're like, what? I don't
Yeah.
know. What am I? I don't know. I don't know what I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could also be tricky because they may not even call it a sales tax, right? It's a gross
Right.
receipts or a business privilege tax, or and so is this the right certificate? I don't know. And so having somebody that you can just, hey, I need a resale certificate in this state. Is this right? Or that whole, we talk about it time and time again on our podcasts, and that is collaboration builds confidence, right? As you collaborate, as you just bounce ideas, questions, thoughts off of a professional like Pizer Johnson, it will go a long way and provide you
Right.
peace of mind and be able to help you sleep at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We talk about it
So,
all the time.
so you mentioned we had some sort of list or matrix of the states that we can provide that
Yeah,
might want, its state specific resale certificate.
yeah. It's tricky with the matrix or charts that you'll find out there. I mean, you can find them on different tax engine websites, but it gets tricky because there's a lot of caveats. There's a lot of footnotes, a lot of things to be aware of. So it's not a magic bullet. It's not even a multi-jurisdiction resale certificate, for example. You can use it across multiple states, but there are several, I mean, probably 5 pages worth of footnotes to
Oh,
watch out for. So if you're using it in California, be careful of this and don't use it in this case, or watch out for this. And so even if you were to look at the multi-jurisdiction resale certificate, you'll find a lot of caveats or footnotes. And so I hesitate to provide a chart because people will reference it as if it's legislation, but it's not legislation. It's not
so
supported under
yeah.
audit.
So then that's tough. Maybe
Yeah,
I can provide a link for you listeners out there of the multi-jurisdictional form, and that will
yeah,
have some good information on there, as to what to watch out for, because
yeah,
you may have vendors in different states are like, hey, I need a resale certificate,
yeah,
and that could provide some good information on what you might need to do. And
yeah,
some of it might some of your decision might have to be around materiality as well.
right.
So before you make that decision, and it might be wise to jump on a call with us, but usually if you're not doing a high volume of sales, you know it really is materiality question. But once you
For
start making
sure.
a high number of sales and transactions, it is very smart to get on a call with us and discuss what you need to do, especially if like you're in 10 plus states
Yeah,
and that's where it starts to get really complicated.
yeah.
So that's when we suggest that's about the time to get on a call and discuss your options.
I will mention, there are at least probably 7 states that I would put a red flag or the caution tape around, and that is Alabama, Colorado, DC, Illinois, Maryland, Mississippi, South Carolina, and Tennessee.
Huh.
And we could provide that to our listeners just to watch out for. If you're in these states providing resale certificates, or you have customers in these states who are providing resale certificates, and you're not certain if you can accept this resale certificate or not, it's good to at least have those flashing red lights in your
Yeah.
head. Oh, Illinois? Yeah,
There's
there's
something
something wrong
about
with
that.
Illinois. I don't know if I can. Let me look into this further, type of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Most states, I will also add that most states also have a way on their website to look up if this account number that they provided you is valid and would be accepted under audit, because it's low-hanging fruit under an audit situation for any auditor to come in. Hey, you didn't collect tax on these transactions or these sales of fidget spinners, and you should have. Well, yeah, I have these resale certificates. Well, yeah, let me see those resale certificates and let me see if they're valid. It's
Ooh.
very easy for the auditor, because you have the burden of proof as the taxpayer to show that you didn't have to collect tax. But if the certificate is incompleted, it's not valid, it's outdated, it's not dated, it's not signed, whatever the case may be, It's easy for the state to just, oh, sorry, invalid certificate. You can go get another one, maybe, and you have 30 days, or you have 15 days, or 10 days. So it gets a little bit tricky. So you just want to make certain that they're always updated, they're always completed and signed, and you do a little bit of due diligence. You're not required to be an auditor when accepting resale certificates, but you are required to, have a little bit of common sense when it comes to accepting those in good faith. This whole in good faith that the state puts on you as a taxpayer, it does have some weight to it. And so you can't just willy-nilly, free for all, oh yeah, whatever. That napkin, yeah, I'll accept that napkin with an IOU on it. Yeah, no, don't do that. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, this is really good. And we had a discussion yesterday. I was asking you, it's like, who do we suggest? There's a lot of good softwares out there to help manage exemption certificates, resale certificates.
Yeah.
And there was one, it was exempt tax. So yeah, look at your options. Like if you're having to deal with a lot of resale certificates, I think that's wise because they also help you keep that updated and organized. Well, sweet. Paul, thank you so much. Think this is good information. And
Absolutely.
I know for a fact that we'll see you on another one.
Hey, yo. Thanks, Ryan.
See ya.